Hello, my name's Stuart Chignall and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's a bit of a mix of a whole stack of different things, from woodwork to agriculture, and what is dominating the videos at the moment, because it's the season, is bees. And in this video I'm going to be documenting the rebuild of the Bee Vac that I used in the last video. So there's enough detail in this video that'll stand alone, but if you want a better context of why I'm doing what I'm doing, check out that previous video. But right now, let's get into the rebuild, because I've got an even trickier hive removal to do, and I really want this Bee Vac working at 100%.
Now, of course, the first modification you saw I actually did on site while I was using the Bee Vac, and that was adding in that smaller diameter clear hose, smooth clear hose. I think that was essential. The ribbed hose, it was too wide, and so there was not enough suction to get the bees to move into the entry box reliably, which meant basically the hose got full and then it stopped working. Or stopped working as well, which really explains some of the trouble I was having while doing that removal. Well, the first thing I've done is I've made the suction box and the bottom screen one piece, so it's not a separate thing to have to worry about. That makes it a bit lighter, but it also means that I don't have to. There's not going to be slippage between the suction box and that screen. So that was modification number one. The next modification, as I mentioned in the debrief, of course, is not to use ideals, but to use full supers, and that's what I'm going to be doing for all my cutouts now, because it's just too difficult getting the comb into the ideal frames. Yeah, but most of the changes have been on the entry box. Now, one of the things I've done is I've added this vent on the side. Now I've still got my vent if I needed it down here. There's no holes drilled behind that slide, but it's there if I need it. But now I've got this vent here. Now, this isn't so much as to control airflow, but this is to provide an entrance for bees. So once you've got a whole stack of bees in the Bee Vac, and including the queen hopefully, the bees that are left behind are going to want to go somewhere, especially if you're doing unpleasant things to where their hive used to be. So you turn with this, you can turn the Bee Vac off, turn the vacuum cleaner off, and then open this vent, and because it's got these one-way entrances on it, you're not going to lose all the bees that you've sucked up, and all the bees that'll start to cluster around the outside of the Bee Vac looking to get in with their buddies, they can come in via this one-way entrance. And probably even this will be a great way to catch cutouts, in that you get the majority of the bees sucked up, you thoroughly destroy where the hive was, whether that's a log and you cut it up and you disperse it all over the place, or if it's a cutout, you're taking all the weatherboards off or whatever and making sure you're scraping all the comb off and then spraying it or smoking it. The bees have got nowhere to go, but if they smell their buds in here, they'll cluster around the Bee Vac and then they can come through this one-way entrance. Now, I am a bit concerned that it might reduce the suction too much, because there's no way to actually shut this off completely. So probably what I'm going to do is put some tape over here. And the other thing I've done is I've added the window. Now the sides are chamfered so that you can look at an angle. With the side chamfered, you've got a much greater field of view up into the corner of the box, and also with the top and bottom chamfered, you can also look up and down. But what I mentioned in the debrief, and what I haven't had a chance to do, because I've really got to get this other removal done now, is I really need a tap on here so that you can disconnect the hose and leave this behind. Now, it's not essential, and it might even not be a good idea, because the tap, various plumbing fittings, might provide some rough points, and that actually might be bad, because the bees come shooting along the smooth hose. If they hit any of the rough points of any plumbing fittings I've got here, that could damage them. Whereas if they shoot out into the entry box, even though they're going potentially going very fast, when they get into here in this larger volume, the velocity of the airflow decreases rapidly, and then they can fly and not get torn apart. So one of the things we're going to use this window is just to assess how that goes. Now there was another change that I'm thinking of making, and that is putting pins between the boxes so that they lock, and that we're not reliant so much on the straps to hold things in place. I'm hoping though that with all the boxes basically the same size, that won't be such a problem. With the last time we did it, the hive body that I was using was that of 50mm thick wood, so it was much larger than these thinner bodied parts of the Bee Vac. So I'm just going to go and have a coffee, let this glue finish, and then I'm going to go do cure a little bit more, and then I'm going to go and do this removal. It'd be nice if I could let it fully cure, but I just didn't get a chance to get all the glue up that I needed to do done last night. Yeah, for the usual reason. So yeah, needs must. But yeah, look, I could do with a coffee, so I'll just go have a coffee, and then we'll head off and get cracking on getting these bees. And of course, the other thing that I'm going to be doing is using better tape. So that should also help.